Hi everyone, hope you're doing good. This is my top 10 bands of all time for now list. This video is a response to TheFireBurnsWithin because he made this very video a couple of weeks back and he challenged me to make my own. So firstly, go check his video out and possibly we could make this a thread. I don't know. We'll see, I guess. But yeah, with this list, this is just 10 bands that first came to my mind. In a couple of years' time, this list could change easily. You know, with more albums that I listen to and more bands that I listen to. Yeah, and with this, I went with solo artists that don't have a set band, like Joe Satriani or Gary Moore, don't count, even though if I had counted them, those two would have been in there for sure. But yeah, before we get into the video, if you're new, please consider subscribing for more guitar, rock and metal music content. Please share with anyone who you think might like my content. All feedback and comments are massively appreciated. And a massive thank you to everyone who's already subscribed and for all of your support. Now let's just get straight into the video. So before I get into my top 10 list, I just wanted to say a couple of honourable mentions. I'm pretty certain TheFireBurnsWithin did this as well. But yeah, I've got 4 honourable mentions that couldn't quite make my list. Those are Exodus, Death Angel, Killswitch Engage and Lamb of God. Now let's just get into the top 10. I'm going to just briefly talk about each of these. So number 10, I've got Sepultura, but more specifically the Max Cavalera era from the first album all the way up to Chaos AD. I'm not going to count Roots because I actually haven't listened to it yet. But those string of albums from Schizophrenia, Beneath the Remains, Arise, Chaos AD, just all fantastic stuff. Yeah, massive influence on me, the riffing, guitar playing, and just all the songwriting, and yeah, just made me a massive fan of the band. And I'm slowly getting to the other stuff when Max left. But yeah, just more specifically that era, it's just awesome. I absolutely love it. Number 9, I have got the Jimi Hendrix Experience. This technically counts because it's technically a band. It wasn't like a solo project. It was technically Jimi Hendrix's band that he had with Noel Redding on the bass and Mitch Mitchell on the drums. And yeah, they done 3 albums from 67 to 69, and pretty much all of them are absolute bangers. Jimi Hendrix is a massive inspiration for me for guitar, and yeah, there's no way that Jimi Hendrix was not going to be on this list. Everything he's done is just awesome. I love it. Number 8, I have got Ozzy Osbourne, but again, specifically the Randy Rhoads era. Them 2 albums that Randy Rhoads played on, Blizzard of Oz and Diary of a Madman. Both of them are just solid albums, and again, a huge inspiration for my guitar playing. Randy Rhoads is massive for me, and still is. And yeah, those 2 albums are flawless. The best 2 Ozzy Osbourne albums by Country Mile, and yeah, just an awesome band that Ozzy had at that time. Number 7, I'm going to go with Slipknot. And I know Slipknot are a bit of a divisive band. You either like them or you don't. For me, they just clicked straight away. First album I heard was Volume 3. And then I moved on to All Hope Is Gone, and that sold me on the band. Both of those albums are brilliant albums. Probably my 2 favourite albums by Slipknot, which a lot of Slipknot fans would say is a bit strange. But yeah, honestly, I'm not a massive fan of the first album, but everything else they've done is just awesome, and I absolutely love it. And yeah, Corey Taylor is a massive inspiration on me. Again, because he's just such an awesome guy, and yeah, I absolutely love the band. Number 6 on my list, I've got Slayer. Again, huge band for me. They've done some awesome classic stuff in the past. Rain in Blood, for me, is my favourite album, but also Seasons in the Abyss, such a good album as well. South of Heaven, sort of, is a bit of an underrated one. Some people like it, some people don't. It takes a bit of time to get into that album, I think. But yeah, it's a really cool album as well. Even their later stuff is really good as well. It's just a really solid band, and I feel so lucky to have got to see them before they retired. Moving on to the top 5 now, and in 5th place I've got Testament, another massive band for me, who I haven't really been listening to that much, but I've loved them. They've gone up and up and up, like the more I listen to them, and now I've listened to pretty much all their stuff, and yeah, I love all of them. Yeah, Alex Skolnick's such an awesome guitar player. One of the best, probably the best thrash metal guitarist for Leeds anyway. Just, I love his guitar playing. Chuck Billy's vocals are just awesome. He's got better with age. Yeah, just the whole band is so solid. They've, you know, the members that they've had in the past have just all been awesome. And yeah, I absolutely love Testament. I'm pretty certain TheFireBurnsWithin had Testament on his list as well. Number 4, I've got another massive metal band in the 90s here, Pantera. Yeah, a lot of people are not a big fan of Pantera, or they prefer the early stuff. I've never listened to the early stuff, and I'm not really sure if I want to. But yeah, the 90s stuff is just so classic, and I absolutely love it. Again, another big stepping stone into getting into more metal music for me, Pantera. And Dimebag Darrell's guitar playing, he's just a legend. Yeah, really sad that he passed away when he did. But yeah, a band that I've always loved and still do. And yeah, I mean, some people think they're overrated. I think they're just fantastic, and if you haven't checked them out, just give them a go. Cowboys from Hell and Vulgar Display of Power, just fantastic albums. Number 3, another band that TheFireBurnsWithin had on his list, Megadeth. Another one that people have kind of gone off a bit recently, but I think they're still brilliant. They're still fantastic. They've always had some fantastic musicians, and they do still now. Dave Mustaine's vocals are to be desired. Yeah, you either like them or you don't. I think they're all right, but for me, it's the music that makes the band, not the vocals. Especially for this band, the guitar playing, the songwriting, it's just absolutely flawless. And yeah, they have done some stinker albums, but their classic albums are fantastic. You know, Rust in Peace, Peace Sells, all them. Even Countdown to Extinction's brilliant. Some of their newer stuff, Endgame, I love. Dystopia is brilliant as well. Yeah, just a really solid band. And now for the top 2. If you know me personally, you'll probably already know what the top 2 are going to be. Probably not in the order, although you might. So yeah, number 2 is Trivium. Again, a band that I've not really listened to for very long, but a band that just instantly clicked, and I absolutely love them. I love all the stuff they've done. Yeah, I very recently just talked about Trivium in the bands that I've fallen in love with, and yeah, I just fell in love almost straight away. And yeah, one of my favourite bands. Love everything they've done. Yeah. And number 1, obvious to a lot of people, my favourite band of all time is Metallica. And just for the simple fact that I wouldn't be sitting here right now if it wasn't for Metallica. I wouldn't be playing that if it wasn't for Metallica. That's just it. I'm gonna just keep it as simple and as straight to the point as that. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing without Metallica. And yeah, you can say what you like about them now, but those early albums are awesome and are classic for a reason, because they are just absolutely fantastic. And yeah, I still always will love Metallica. So that was my top 10 bands of all time for now. I'd love to know what you think of my list, and what's your top 10 bands of all time if you could make a list. I know it's really difficult, and hopefully we could make a thread out of this maybe, but we'll see what happens, I guess, from what this video does. And yeah, if you got this far, thanks ever so much for watching. Till the next time, keep it metal.